Hello there, my dears. I'm back again with my little book and I'm really determined to get this finished today. So if you haven't seen the other 3 videos leading up to this point, then I will link them all at the end, or you can just look on my playlist of autumn videos, I think I've called it, and you can find them all there. Anyway, so this is my little book that I made out of a child's board book, and this is also my book that I published of autumn pictures to cut out on collage, and ta-da! These are my fussy cuts, and you might have seen these on Instagram. I made a little reel which is proving quite popular over there. If you're on Instagram, maybe just hop over and show it some love. That would be great. Yeah, so it's time to get this book finished. Now, where's my gold pen? I had a little play with the edges here before I stick everything in. I just want to finish this off. So I've tried using iridescent acrylic paint in between the pages here in the little creases, and as you can see, some of the blue is showing through because it just keeps chipping off. So I had a little try with this, and it's just a Staedtler metallic pen, nothing fancy, and actually it seems to do the job. So I'm just going to finish off the last little bit here for you. Zoom in so you can see, and as luck would have it, it seems to cover everything up and not wear off. So happy days. Thank you, Debbie, for suggesting washi tape. I think in the second video I did mention that I thought about washi tape as a solution. I think probably it was just going to create even more thickness and mean that the book wasn't going to be very happy closing. I think that's probably dry enough. So I don't want to smudge this too much onto the pages, but what the heck, it's gold and I love gold and I don't mind. She loves only gold. Like gold finger. Probably will have a gold finger by the time I finished. Right, just to let those dry a little bit. As you can see, I did play about with something gold on the edges, and guess what? It was this pen, and it seemed to soak in and hasn't worn off. So let's just do those edges. Love those books, the really old books that you used to get. I had a little christening Bible, and it had, I don't think it was gold, I think it was silver edges to all the pages. It was so pretty. I think my uncle and auntie gave it to me when I was a baby, when I was christened. So there we go. So satisfying. I want to make sure I don't go over the edges onto the pages though. Sometimes the simplest answers are the right ones. There we go. Oh, so I did have a bit of a fussy cutting marathon the other evening, as you can see, all the fussy cuts I did. And sometimes in life, the simplest solutions are the best ones, and this was really satisfying to do, actually. I find it quite satisfying to watch, but I sped it up for you because obviously going along the edges of a book is not very exciting. But here are my fussy cuts that I spent quite some time cutting out, and I'm just having a little play here to see how things could pan out. I love magical scenes, so I've got mushrooms and butterflies and moths and autumn leaves and all the gorgeous things. And I just love this time of year. I've got this brown knitted jumper that I got in a charity shop. It's actually, believe it or not, Christian Lacroix, but I got it in a charity shop in London about 20 years ago. And it's that lovely rich chocolate brown, and it's got all these knitted dangly bits on the front. They're sort of wooden hoops with wool wrapped around, and it's so lovely. And I just look forward to putting that jumper on every single year. No, call me old fashioned if you will, but it's so chunky and it's just got that autumn vibe about it. So I love putting that on, and then digging out my lovely brown autumn boot collection. I have a few because I actually find boots much more comfortable to tramp round in than shoes, because they kind of hold on to your legs for you, don't they? They're not too tight on your feet. Anyway, so here I am going around the edges of all my fussy cuts. Very, very satisfying. If you've never inked around the edge of something, you need to. What can I say? Anyway, yep, there's some pretty little elements here, and that cute lady, she looks very Edwardian, I think. There we go. Ready for stage 3. I am going to start sticking things into my book at last, so I think I'm going to leave the front cover until I've got a bit more of an idea how the interior is panning out. So I'm sort of reverse engineering it a little bit. Now these are quite fiddly, so I'm going to use some tweezers, and I was thinking of a layout that included this beautiful Edwardian looking lady with her gorgeous outfit and pretty blouse and lovely hat and autumnal colours. And I've also got this cute little house. I have got a bigger one in my cut and collage book, but I thought I would go with that tiny one. And I think I want this page to be a sort of human aspect to an autumnal woodland theme. So I'm looking at just putting some sort of objects that she might own into my scene. I might trim that down a little, or maybe it could go over there as if it's her basket and she's off in the woods collecting her things. Maybe some pumpkins to add to the sort of theme of autumn. And I've got this lovely little copper kettle which I did tear slightly, and a pile of books with autumn leaves on. Now what do you think? I think that works quite well. Oh, and I've got this little autumn snow globe as well, which I could put just there. Looks kind of magical, doesn't it? Right, I think I'm going to go in with the glue, and then we'll see what I've got left over. There's things like these boots, for example, and the mushrooms. So we'll see what else I'm going to do on the next pages, but I think that's what I want the first page to say, you know, like the story of the first page. So let's glue down. My goodness, we're there at last. It's glue time. This bit's probably not going to take all that long compared to how long it's taken to make the whole book. So I think that should go just there. So I did pre-ink all of these to make things a little bit speedier. Let's just stick in the basket. There we go. So I think that's going to go quite well, and we can still see, oh, I've covered up that orange pumpkin underneath, never mind. Pumpkins on top of pumpkins. So the edges are quite fiddly in here, but I love how this gold is still showing in between. Make sure you can see that on the camera. And let's stick our slightly mystical Edwardian looking lady in. I just love this kind of ephemera. So that vintage look is something I've always been interested in, even as a child. I think because I grew up in quite a historic little town with historic buildings and a castle and kind of Georgian properties. I sort of, I mean, I didn't live in one, but I did kind of have a love of those very beautiful. Let's see, I might just cut that off. I think it'll fit like that, and I can always ink that edge, and I'll trim that piece afterwards in case I cut it too short. So yeah, I've always had a bit of a love for beautiful architecture and vintage antiques and things like that. And I'm just an old-fashioned girl, really. I think that can go there. Oops. And I was always a little bit obsessed with witches and fairies as a little girl as well. So I think I will, all that fussy cutting, and I've just chopped it off. I don't think I can reuse that, but I might be able to reuse that little piece there. Yeah, I think I quite like it on that side. Just reflects those colours on both sides of the illustration. So yeah, I was so lucky that my mum always read to me when I was a child. So I think she also had a bit of a love of vintage, old-fashioned stories, and she appreciated those sort of things, I think. So yeah, I think the themes that I loved as a child are all coming out in my books. It's a bit like returning to childhood, really. And it feels a bit like that when I think I want to join that image onto the next one. Maybe a bit higher up. It's very green, that corner, isn't it? Oh, this is so exciting. Gluing bits of paper onto other bits of paper is very exciting and satisfying. Okay, let's put a little leafy globe about there. And those are stuck down. Now, I did rip the kettle. It's hardly surprising, look how tiny that is. So I'm going to have to be super duper careful with this. Might have to go in with the glitter glue actually. Let's just see if I can put enough onto make it work. There. I think that is it. One last tiny piece is these teeny weeny autumnal books. So I'm just using my book that I use here. If you want to have a look, I just use any old page, Grit stick onto the back, and then doesn't matter if it all sticks together, I can reuse that page another time for the same thing once it's dry. Is that in the right spot? I think it is. So I sort of wanted everything to fade into the background so that you have to sort of hunt to find the illustrations and the little things can pop out. Right, I may add a bit more to that at some point, but for now I think that double page is done. I think the second page I want to be a little bit more wild and woodlandy, so the images that I've sort of decided to work with are those gorgeous mushrooms, and I think that pair of boots as well, because that would kind of imply that our friend on this page has been out in the forest, maybe gathering some autumnal bits and bobs, ephemera, treasures, whatever. These are quite fiddly to pick up, so let's just do that. Maybe something a bit like that for that page. And because that mushroom's quite big, I think we need some smaller images. Now I have inked around the edges of these. Perhaps we could have another conker. That work? Is it too big? Got that one in the shell. Something like that. And that leaf. It's going to end up going over the middle, and I suspect what will happen in time is that it'll come off. So maybe we'll bring that leaf in like, not like that. Oh, doesn't look quite right. Maybe like that. Obviously that bit's going to get chopped off. Maybe like that. And we're only losing a little bit. There, what do you think? Before I stick things down, let's just have a close-up look. I'm not sure about both the conkers on that page. I think I like that page though. Might use something else there. What else could we have? Got some more moths. That one's beautiful. I was thinking maybe to put that one on the front cover. I can always go back to my cut and collage book and find some more images, of course. So I can have a bit of a flip through and find some more. There's loads more moths. More boots. More mushrooms. Oh, there's a squirrel. Anyway, let's do this page and then maybe we'll have a little shufty through the book again. So I'm going to go with that combination. I love that moth, it's so beautiful. Right, let's start with the gluing the boots down. So you can see on the back of my images from my autumn pictures to cut out and collage book that I published, in case you have missed the plot of all of that. Yeah, the back of all those pictures is a little pattern which you can use if you want to. Some of them would work really well in an autumn project, which was the general idea. So if you don't want to use the images on one side, you've got a pattern on the back. Right, I think those were in the right place. Oops. Okay, those can hang off a little bit off the sides, those pine cones. Maybe they're a little bit higher about there. Let's go with that. So much fussy cutting and inking has gone on, but do you know what is so relaxing? So if you've never actually made anything like this before, I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. I've been sitting on the fence for quite a long time in terms of actually doing my own crafts. Obviously I've been creating my books, but you've probably, if you've listened to my channel before, you probably heard me say I did go to art college. I did a foundation art and design, which is a little bit of everything really. So we did some printmaking, we did a little bit of photography, we did a lot of drawing. Didn't really do a lot of painting, but we had the opportunity to go on a Friday and join the degree course tutors and do little projects with them on various different degrees. So I did a textiles day, which I don't think it was really for me, fashion and textiles, but it was something to try. And there was an interior design course, which a lot of my friends ended up doing. And I do sometimes secretly regret not doing that course. A few of them went on after that to do a degree in architecture and became architects as well, which, I don't know, it might have suited me actually. Love me a bit of grand designs on TV, but I think probably I'd have got bogged down with all the technical stuff. My ability to see problems through to the end maybe would have got in my way a little bit. There we go. What do you think of that page? Just going to roughly cut that, and I'll probably file it with my nail file like I did when I stuck the background pages on in the video number 2, if you haven't seen it. So yeah, art college, what else did I do? Gosh, I'm trying to remember now. Oh, the bookbinding course. I think I mentioned that in one of my videos before. You might have heard that one. So one day we got to go and make a hardcover book. So we literally started with paper and cardboard, and then some kind of, I can't remember what it was. I remember my book was green. It was sort of this green, just with plain pages, and it was about that big. It was really sweet. We spent the whole day learning how to fold and stitching the pages, and we had a big paper trimming machine, and a lovely lady taught us. It was really very interesting and fun to do. So yeah, that's kind of what a foundation art and design entailed. But every week we had drawing classes, and so lots of still life and life classes. That means drawing people with no clothes on, and Yeah, that was quite good fun. We used to do that at sixth form as well. I did quite a bit of that, so it wasn't exactly a novelty for me anymore by then. Yeah, certainly an experience, and although I didn't go on to do an art degree as such, because I did teacher training, it certainly gave me a background that I've appreciated ever since. I'm not sure that fits very well now. There's me nattering on. Now there is that one, but it's a bit large. I don't really want to cover up my beautiful leaf now. Hey, maybe that needs to go there. An acorn, but what do I put down here? I've got a little bird. His tail's going to stick out. Or a wren. I saw a wren the other day in my garden. I haven't seen one for years. The tail sticks right up like that. It was sitting in the olive tree. So yeah. Oh yeah. I do have some more of these acorns. Perhaps I could just have 2. Could the wren go up in the corner there? That's covering up that lovely leaf again. How do we go back to this little guy? Oh, maybe he could go down there. Or she. He or she. How do you know if a moth is male or female? Perhaps I'll just go back to that. I think I'm overthinking this. What do you reckon? Anyway, I don't have to decide now, do I? This is me thinking it has to be finished. But I could go and jet wash the patio while it's not raining. I'll come back to it. Maybe that could go there. That's got that red flame coloured theme going on then, hasn't it? This leaf's vanishing into the background anyway. And that obviously needs inking if I'm going to use it. Could go like that, but that looks a bit modern to me. Do you know what? I think I'm going to ruminate upon that and come back a little bit later on. Might have to pick some more images out. Isn't it amazing how quickly you get through your fussy cuts? Unbelievable. I have got this other lady who could go down there, but she looks like that lady, so we could get away with it being the same woman. But I think if I'm including her, I might want her a little bit further on in the book. Maybe with the watering can. And some butterflies perhaps. Or with another basket. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to leave that for now. I'll go away and come back and start afresh. See you in a bit. So I wanted to do a really quick, completely shameless plug. These are the books that I've used so far to make my little board book. So this is the one I used. If you didn't see it before, you can see I cut some strips. And I didn't use them all. I just used a few small pieces for the masterboard that I created. So this one is Autumn Patterns and Papers to Cut Out and Collage by me, Keely O'Brien. And this is the one where I got most of my images from. There are over 800 illustrations in this book, which does give me plenty of choice. So these are where I got my fussy cuts from. You can see there's quite a few bits with gaps and pages missing. And used that page for some of my tinier little pieces, which has got smaller versions of what you can find later in the book. There is a flip through of the autumn pictures. I think I've done the autumn patterns as well. Double checking myself now. This one, vintage mushrooms to cut out on collage. So this one, I've found this inside it. I think that one might work in here because it's the right sort of size. So I might use those as well. There's some great woodland themed types of illustrations. That one might work as well, or maybe this one. So yeah, I might be able to use some of the images from that little book. Look at that cute girl at the front. So sweet. Anyway, that's that one. And I'm also thinking I might choose some of the butterflies or moths from this book as well if I run short, because I'm getting through these at a rate of knots. Maybe some of these brownie coloured ones. There's a huge selection, and there are different sizes as well, which is perfect because I do, that one might be nice, it's at a different angle, look. I do want to try, oh, what about that brown one? Oh, I've lost him now, where's he gone? No, never mind. So, I'll probably find it now. Yeah, maybe that one would work really well in this book as well. Just looking at the colours, I think that would be perfect. And some brown ones. See, it doesn't have to always be the flashy butterflies. It can be some of the more sort of browny, neutrally, nondescript ones in this book, I think. So yeah, I've had a good old chop at this book as well. I used it quite a bit in my postcards when I was making those. So there's certainly lots of choice on that page of smaller butterflies that would definitely work well. Some of those greens look would go really, really well with my colour scheme. So loving that one as well. So you can find these on Amazon. A quick way to access that if you're on Instagram is just to go to my page on there, which is Keely O'Brien Cut and Collage Books, and you will find a Linktree link which has now got a shop in it. So within Linktree, as soon as you click on that, it just takes you to a long list with all my books. I think I published about 25 now, and you'll find all of those on there. Including the new Christmas ones and all of these. And if you click on the button, it just really cleverly takes you to your nearest Amazon centre, if you like, whatever you want to call it, nearest Amazon website. So if you've got a login for the Canadian Amazon, excuse me, or the French Amazon, it should take you straight there if you're not like UK or Amazon.com or Amazon.co.uk rather. It should take you straight there, so you should be able to get your hands on copies of these quite easily going down that route. Otherwise, you can just go to Amazon, type in my name, Keely O'Brien. It's a terrible name to spell. People spell it all kinds of ways. Quite often you see it spelt with an E. I think Amazon will pick me up if you spell it with an E. You don't need to put the apostrophe. A lot of people spell Keely with an EY as well, so that just confuses the whole issue even more. But never mind, you will find me on there if you hunt around for long enough. And why not give me a follow on Amazon as well? I'd so appreciate it. I have got hundreds of people now on there following me, heading towards 1,000. I'd love to get to 1,000 before Christmas. That would be just great. But the problem with that is I can't get in touch with any of the people who follow me on Amazon. So I'm hoping that people will find me over here and then we can be friends. So yeah, there we go. Those are my books. Right, back to the crafting. So I managed to find this tiny bee. He was, or she was, in the front page of my book, you know, the one where I put the tiny pictures. So I thought it was intricate enough, but also small enough to fit somewhere on this page. So I'm just going to tone down those edges. You do need your glasses on for this kind of thing. If you wear glasses, unless you're blessed with perfect eyesight. Just for reading, really, that I need my specs on. There we go. Gorgeous. I love how this vintage photo makes everything go slightly coppery gold. Just perfect for this book. Now, I haven't stuck that one in. I'm thinking that it could go there, or the bee maybe could go up here. Then he's at the same angle as the moth. It looks a bit contrived. Over there, maybe over here. Yeah, that's quite nice because there's not too much going on up there yet. That still leaves me with these. Okay, I'm going to go back to the book, see if I can find anything else of that sort of size that I could maybe play around with before I decide. So this is the page with the bigger sized bugs. I think that's the same one that I've just used. Yes, it is. So maybe I could go with one of these steampunky bugs. I love that big blue one. I wonder if he or she is going to be too big, or maybe that moth. I don't mind a bit of steampunk in this, actually. I think the Edwardian look of the lady would go quite well. Is that bug too big? And there's a smaller one, that greeny one in the middle. Oh yes. Oh, I can definitely see that one in there. Right, I'm going to cut it out. There we go. Oh goodness me, that is going to look amazing. So just need to fussy cut him out. Can you see all the little cogs? Anyway, spoiler alert, I am thinking to make another book like this. Let me know if you would like to see that. And the theme I really would like to play around with is steampunk. What do you reckon? I've got 3 steampunk books that I've produced. One is the steampunk ephemera and patterns, which is a sort of general steampunk. It's quite pretty steampunk though. So lots of ladies and pretty outfits and that sort of stuff. And a few kind of machines and things. Then I've done a steampunk patterns and papers book with sort of backgrounds with cogs and things like that. I would love to have a play around with it. And there's also steampunk cats and dogs, which personally I loved that book. It was really fun to make. But if I were to do a steampunk little mini book like this, a board book, I could very much play around with all 3 of those books and show you what's possible. Or my take on what's possible anyway. Of course you can make whatever you like with cut and collage books, but I'm really enjoying this sort of mini book project because I can take it slowly, I can build up the layers, and as I'm going along, you know, if you're not that confident, you can just build up the layers bit by bit, play around with things, It's one of the things that I really love about collage is that you don't have to be amazing at painting or drawing, but just playing about with shapes and colours. And you don't have to glue anything down until you're ready. So it's really forgiving, I think, in that respect. And also, if it goes wrong, you can just stick over the top of it. Or you can ink over the top of it. Or you can paint over the top of it. And I'm sure there are better fussy cutting scissors than these, but I actually quite like these. They're super sharp. They're really ancient. I don't know where they came from, but sort of house scissors that have been in the household for a few decades probably. But I find they work. Stainless steel Acelt. I think they make little craft knives as well, that company. Anyway, yeah, so I quite like these scissors. They're the right sort of size. They don't hurt your hands. I have no idea if they still sell them. But they seem to work for me. Little antenna. I don't want to cut those off this time, I think, because they're quite characterful, and if I try and draw those, I'm not going to get them to look as good. They won't be symmetrical probably, and they won't be quite that shape. So in some of my other projects I have chopped off butterflies antenna because usually they're sort of straight. These are more sort of pincer shaped. Always liked bugs. Not in person very much, but I've always really liked them in like jewellery and stuff like that. They are just so technical, aren't they? And imagine if you built a machine that tiny that could do what a bug can do. It's absolutely amazing little tiny pieces of technology, really, aren't they? And some of them can fly, and some of them can even swim. If you've ever looked at a pond skaters and stuff, they're absolutely phenomenal little creatures. And the stuff they can do. Can you imagine if they were giant? How terrifying they would be. It'd be like something out of a horror film, wouldn't it? Oh dear, I'm off on a ramble today. So I didn't manage to jet wash the patio yet, but I did cut down a whole load of ivy instead. I looked at the sky and I thought, oh, if I get the jet washer out, it's just going to be raining, and the electricity and all that with the rain. Changed my mind about that. So anyway, I did manage to cut down, excuse me, loads of ivy from the trellis. Nearly there. Oh, you're being very patient with me, I have to say. Thank you if you're still watching. Nearly there, nearly there. Nearly. Whoops. That's it. Excuse me, try and get into these tiny feelers. I'm not worrying too much because once I do the inking, oh, I thought I dropped it off then. I just folded it. Nearly there. Come on, Keely, in you go. So, I don't know whether you've seen on Instagram my little flip through of my newest cut and collage books, the Christmas ones. So I've done a pink and a blue, and they're very similar. They're not quite identical, but they're very, very similar inside, except obviously different colour theme. And I'm so happy with them. I think they're really cute. And yeah, I should be creating a flip through video of each one fairly soon and adding it to my playlist. So if you haven't seen my cut and collage books before, if you go over to my channel page and look on the playlist, you will see, not sure how many I've done now, 10 maybe, not quite sure, but nip over and have a look and then you can tell me in the comments if you like. Yeah, I haven't done one of those flip throughs for a little while because I've been a bit busy with this. There we go. Oh my goodness. Ah, I love it, I love it, I love it. Right, I'm going to ink around that. Let's put those bits over there. Otherwise it's going to be a hoovering nightmare in this room. Probably could have done that a bit more carefully, but let's just go around the legs. Yeah, so flip through videos. My autumn patterns and papers to cut and collage, that's the book I've used here, that has had 1,300 or so views since I published it. It went absolutely crazy compared to all these videos which have had about like 100 views. A couple have had 200. So my channel's really new if you've only just found me. When I say really new, I started in July and it's now October. So I think I've posted most weeks. I started trying to post every day just to get things going, and also I was doing the hashtag July postcard play challenge that Kerry the Crafter set for everybody, and I just thought that was too good an opportunity not to get started on YouTube, because I've been wanting to do it for quite some time. I think that needs to go there. Go away. And maybe that little moth, perhaps he needs to go that way. I quite like those little stars. I think I'm going to have to sacrifice the stars. Get it in frame. What do you think? Maybe just there. Right, gluing time. That's my print stick. So, a bit of print stick on the back. And bye bye stars. I did like you, but please know you are sacrificing yourself for a very pretty moth. Now, let's see whether I can actually glue this without losing one of the legs. Make sure I've got all his antenna and legs and things glued. Oh, where did I put him? trying to get all the parts onto the page. Maybe slide him up a bit. Pretty Stick is quite forgiving in terms of you can slide your images across a little bit. There we go. Oh, I love that. I love the colours, the copperiness, the magical. Oh, didn't stick my bee down. Oh, come on, mister. Sorry, mate, I forgot about you. Okay. And I think that is going to be it for today. There we are. Right, I have made big progress on here today, haven't I, guys? So there's that page, which is a bit more about sort of lifestyle of living in the woods, being a posh Edwardian lady. And then this one, which is a little bit more about nature and magicalness. Bugs and creepy crawlies, conkers. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. Right, I've still got lots of fussy cuts to use. I might not use all of them. Some inking to do, but I'm going to leave that now and I will come back to it in another video. So there we go. I've still got the front cover to do as well. So there's lots more to come. So I've still got that page. Need a bit of a theme, I think, for that page. And this one. And the back. So still loads more to do. It is amazingly time consuming, this book, but I'm so obsessed and absorbed by it, which is just the magic, isn't it, of making handmade things. Oh, I can't stop turning the pages. Right, I'm going to stop blowing my own trumpet now, and I will see you very soon. Take care, guys. Bye for now.